What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond. I'm back with my own new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's get into it. We had Tisha, drunk ass Tisha, acting a fool, arguing back and forth with Stormy. Stormy is calling her out, trying to hold her accountable for the pill popping comment. Tisha is not standing on business like she wants Nell to do later on and admit why did she say it, but she's deflecting. We're not getting anywhere. Nell comes in and says, y'all don't need to be friends. You don't go to her event and you don't invite her anywhere. Tisha ends up admitting that she RSVP'd. You RSVP'd because you wanted to have a conversation. Go sit in the corner, Tisha, because that makes no sense. You wanted to have a whole audience to create an issue about receiving an invite, but yet you were going to go anyway. Makes no sense. Kimmy, Nell, everybody was all surprised about her behavior along with her reasoning. You're doing the most. You acting crazy. Tisha's looking shocked and confused as to why Nell's calling her out about it, because you're doing the most. What you want them to do? Not call you out, laugh with you like it's funny, but it's not funny. So they end up moving to a different area. Tisha and Nell stay behind because Tisha has something to pick with Nell. And Tisha is letting Nell know, I'm not with the fake and phony stuff. I'm not, indirect. I'm direct. I let you know how I'm feeling, and I'm a straight shooter. Same with Nell. I'm a straight shooter. I've never been faking phony to one of y'all, but I'm blindsided to what your issue is. So before we get to that, Stormy and Courtney are talking to Marcel to ask him what's up with Tisha. I thought we were cool, but we get to the reunion, I have a lot of heat towards me that I wasn't aware of. Why is that? Marcel wants to say, I don't know, my wife just feels the way about it. You know why. You was just in the Sprinter event expressing your concerns as well. So Marcel, stop being fake. Explain what it is, okay? And let's keep it a buck. We all know why we are having an issue, because Marcel and Tisha have not been held accountable for the way they've acted since last season and the seasons before. Because we know that Marcel did not handle the expo correctly by not letting his vendors know that there was a $100 fee. And he decided to let Stormy know at the event. The way he did it was wrong. Stormy told him off, told Courtney. Courtney told him off, which I believe that Marcel is still holding a grudge against. And also Stormy calling him a bitch. And he's still mad about how Tisha never really checked her on it. And then we get to the shipping policy incident where Tisha did not want to be held accountable for the mistake that she made. She wanted to deflect it and blame it on other people, and didn't even believe she owed Stormy an apology, which is why at the reunion, she had all this venom towards Stormy with the old invoices, the pill popping, because she did not want to be held accountable by how embarrassed she was that she made a mistake. But when it comes down to explaining how they felt like it was weird, Courtney and Stormy was like, well, we extended it as an olive branch. But if you felt like it was a problem, then that's something y'all gonna have to deal with, because they don't have an issue. Courtney and Stormy don't have an issue with neither one of y'all. They want to move forward, let things go. But Tisha and Marcel likes to hold things, likes to always act like they want to move forward, but don't want to move forward, don't want to be held accountable. It's just a lot, and I don't have time for it. So if you want to find an issue for receiving an invite, go ahead, because everybody was invited. It wasn't an exclusion. If Courtney and Stormy felt the way about Tisha and Marcel, they never would have invited them. So y'all making a mountain out of a molehill over this invite. All for y'all to have a scene, all for y'all to have a storyline, it ain't working. But do what y'all do. Maurice comes in to tell them, let's not argue, so we're gonna leave that alone. Then we get to Tisha. Tisha wants to check Nell about a comment that she made on social media, answering a fan about whether or not her and Tisha are friends. Nell answered, oh, I'm a mentor to Tisha. Tisha did not like that, and how she wants to now put the fans back in motion. The fans are the main topic of her and Marcel's conversation, saying how you allow a fan to dictate our friendship. But Nell shut it down and said, we're not gonna do this fan shit. I said an answer that I thought was okay to answer. You felt the way about it. Why didn't you come in and say something? But Tisha said she doesn't need to respond to haters. So you mad that you felt like I downplayed our friendship, but you didn't even think you need to say something? Yeah, don't have time. Tisha has way too much need of validation, way too much need to be included, and always need to have a title. Because if you are becoming friends with Nell like you say you are, why couldn't you have hit Nell up and asked her, what was that comment about? Why did you answer a fan at all? You know me and you have a friendship. Don't worry about what they've asked you. Like, that's not the energy you're coming with, Tisha. You really are stuck in how fans are looking at you, talking about you, and you expect for everybody else to just know what you feel and just already have an answer for them. No, they're not going to do that. They can't read your mind, and you have way too much expectation of how other people are supposed to defend you when you don't even defend yourself. So nobody has time. But Nell told Tisha, listen, if you had a problem with it, why didn't you reach out? How many months later since that comment was made? But she said, I wanted to let you know here. You chose her birthday party of all places to address an issue that could have been addressed earlier on when it happened. Okay, Tisha. But she just told you could have hit me up like Mel do. She could have called me. You could have came over, and she had to say, I'm not Mel. No, but what she is saying is the way that Mel don't hesitate to let me know how she feels so I can address it, we can move forward. That's what she wants from you. But you now want to say, okay, I get it. From now on, whenever I tell you how something makes me feel, I will call you. Fine, cool. Too much. Too much, too much, too much, too much. So Nell's party went great. I love when she jumped on Chris. Chris held her. She was gyrating all over him. She said my birthday party went off without a hitch except for her little run-in with Tisha, but they squandered it for the night, and we're going to move on from there. We got Chris, Martel, and Courtney. They meet up to toss a ball around like a bunch of teenagers because they want to check in with Martel about how he felt about not being invited to Nell's party. He says Nell's picking sides. Chris says she wasn't picking sides. She just knew that you and Mel are going through a lot right now, and you guys don't need to be in the same room. What I didn't like was Chris saying that both you and Mel be going back and forth doing things to one another. Whether or not who started it, who finished it, who said this, who said that, both of y'all do it. But Chris, you do know for a fact that Mel only retaliates to Martel when he do the most. You know for a fact Martel do the most. He's never stopped doing the most. And Mel is like, I'm tired of it. But you have a point with how Martel and Mel do not need to be in the same room right now. And he wants to lie and say, man, you know, when me and Mel are together, we never have any issues when we're in the same room. You are fucking lying. Production, where are the flashbacks of all the times that Mel and Martel have been in an argument ever since they're in the same room? Please, can we go when she threw a glass at him? Can we talk about the Vegas trip? But they've had more than one arguments where Marceau has to physically remove Martel from the room. Let's talk about the last group trip, which was Houston. They're both arguing. You gotta be kidding me with him believing that him and Mel never had an issue when they're in the same room. And I also don't like the subliminals that Martel likes to use when he wants to make it seem as if him and Mel are on a better note. This is just for the show, and I don't like that. I really don't. And even Chris looking at him like, you gotta be out your mind with you thinking that you and Mel are cool. Stop lying. And Courtney said 2 adults can be in the same room, right? Yes, they can, Courtney, but not this adult because Martel is a man-child. He don't know how to handle himself. And now he's still on this taking sides train because now he's looking at the Scots funny because they're trying to hold him accountable for the interview that he did, and they're questioning him about why did he do this, why did he do that, and he's like, man, I'm just taking sides, y'all not listening to me. But it's like, grow up, Martel. Grow up. I don't know how you expect for people to be on your side the way you retaliated. Just like last season at the Houston trip, Tisha want to say Martel have never told us to pick sides. Yes, the fuck he has. Well, y'all know that he's done wrong. Y'all still want to pick his side and still talk about Mel. Get out of my face with this. And he still wants to keep up with how Mel never keeps real friends. She uses people. So in the confessional, he's telling them, when Mel shows y'all her true colors, don't come crawling back to me, and I'm gonna be like, I told you so, because you'll know a real friend when you see one. Real recognize real, and it is what it is. Martel, you do not know how to be a real friend. You don't know how to be real. You do not know how to take what's real in front of you. Just like Chris said before, you can't handle when someone's telling you the truth, because the way you look at your friendships, you look at them as IOUs, favors, and blackmail. And you and Tisha are a lot alike. Both of y'all don't like being held accountable because both of y'all don't like it when what you've done is wrong, but you can't say I'm wrong without saying someone else is wrong too. No, because we're talking about what you did without the influence of someone else putting you in that space, what you did on your own. And that's what Martel don't like to hear. But we're gonna move on from that. We talk about Stormy and Courtney's party, the galas, lovers and friends event. Is he going? Yes, he's going, but he's worried about how his physique looks because he thinks his dad bod is not up to par, which I find ridiculous because Martel, you are an active gym going guy. You never stop going to the gym. So the fact you feel like your body is not up to par is just killing me right now. And everyone's invited, but he's so worried about his body. But I'm gonna move on from there because I don't want to talk about nothing else. So we get Tisha and Marceau. Tisha's in the kitchen cleaning up. Marceau comes over claiming he was checking on other projects. I'm using air quotes. And Tisha's in the confessional complaining as usual about wearing all these hats, being a mother, a wife, and a businesswoman. And she feels like she's not succeeding in those areas. She feels she's lacking. She feels like she's not doing her best. And Marceau just comes with the analogies of, we don't have to be the best. Just focus on being the best you. And it's just like, sometimes just reading off a pamphlet and having a mantra is not enough, Marceau. Do you ever really tell Tisha that you appreciate all that she does for you and your family? Do you give her credit when she puts input in the business? Do you tell her how beautiful she is? Do you compliment her? Because Tisha is always trying to overcompensate on what she doesn't feel, because Tisha does not feel that support in her marriage, does not feel that support in any areas of where she's trying to succeed in. And you don't help her out with that. You just say words and she's supposed to just get it, but you need to do more. So Tisha's her own cheerleader, that she has to uplift herself. She has to do all this because Marceau does not want to do it. That's why Tisha is really down validation in other areas that she thought she's supposed to get in her marriage, but she doesn't get it. But moving on from that, we talk about Kimmy and Maurice. Has he started their project, or has he put the bid in? No. Kimmy, find another contractor, because Maurice is not gonna put a fire under his brother's ass to do the project you want, and Marceau's not gonna do it at all. So that's fine. Tisha just doesn't want the project to drive a wedge between her and Kimmy, because her and Kimmy have gone through a lot of ups and downs, because Kimmy is not going to change how she is for Tisha. I'm not going to lie for you. I'm not going to show blind loyalty for you when I know you done wrong. I know you start shit. I know you said shit. Even with to the, what was that, season 4, season 3 reunion, when Kimmy said that she would not be friends with Tisha if they weren't married to a Scott, because Tisha expects too much. Tisha expects validation. She has high expectations of people just showing up for her, but she doesn't know how to show up for herself. She doesn't know how to show up for other people, because it's all about her. Because Tisha has the mindset from her mother's teachings that if anybody was to call her out for what she did wrong, she's going to just chalk it up with they're jealous of her, they don't like her because she's pretty, and that's how Tisha does not know how to accept accountability. She don't know how to accept constructive criticism. She do not know how to naturally navigate real friendship with other women. So it is what it is. But Marceau wants to have a positive mindset moving forward, everybody, even down to the second Black Expo that they had. And they reached out to Melody's team to ask her to be their motivational speaker. But it didn't work because Mel had a prior engagement, so she couldn't make it. And I'm like, y'all gonna invite her again? Are you gonna pay her this time? Because y'all didn't want to pay nobody. And Marceau, you made that comment that Melody could not give business advice because all she sells is t-shirts. But fine, you want to start fresh. You don't want to go back to the shade. You don't want to throw jabs. Okay. So Tisha brings up the conversation that Mel wants to have with Marceau about the comment he made about Martel's arrest. Okay. Then it's a crock of bullshit from this point on. Marceau and Tisha are literally fooling themselves if they think that because they're in the middle, that they're always involved, they're always asking questions when it comes to anybody else on the cast, and they don't like to talk about it, they don't like to get involved. I beg to differ, because now we're talking about Martel's arrest, that the local news station reached out to Marceau because they thought that it was another bald-headed man with the initials MAR got arrested. Don't know how local news station could make a mistake about printing the wrong man that was arrested. I mean, yes, news makes mistakes all the time, but I really don't see how that particular news can make a mistake about posting the wrong man to be arrested. That don't make no sense. But hey, if you want to feel important, Marcel, do you. So then we are also talking about Marcel and Tisha believe that they get blamed for a lot of what's going on between Mel and Martel and everybody else. And it's like, you have got to be kidding me. These two deplorable human beings, I'm using your words, Marcel, y'all really believe that you guys are to be blamed of what has happened with everybody on the cast? So he mentions everybody that believes have always said things against them, and their repercussions have been their downfall. So he mentions Mel and Martel, they got divorced. That had nothing to do with you. Well, considering the fact that you knew the whole time that Martel was cheating on Mel. You knew who the girl was. You've been around her. So, okay. Then he mentions Tiffany and Lewis. You guys came after them first. And Tiffany had a baby and was going through postpartum. But that had nothing to do with you. Then you mentioned Kiki and Amin. They're fine as well. You guys came out the gate talking about them. So I'm confused. Like, are you talking about marriage as a marriage ending because they came after you? Okay, well, Martel and Mel were trying to move forward, but Martel kept cheating and Melly wasn't going to stick around. Tiffany and Lewis, like, navigating on being new parents again, and Tiffany going through postpartum, but their marriage is still fine, which is why they left the show. They weren't about to deal with you guys talking about their marriage, you guys talking about the situations. They weren't going to deal with that. And Kiki and Amin, they've gone through their shit as well, but they're still together. They're still lasting. So I don't understand what it you're trying to say. That anyone who has said something against y'all have had downfalls. Y'all have had downfalls when you guys are putting all of your interests in other people's business and don't talk about what y'all got going on. That's the part for me. So, okay, Marcel, whatever you want to say to that. Tisha brings up Stormy. Well, Stormy and Courtney are fine. Business-wise and in a relationship. I don't know what you trying to insinuate. Okay. So now she's bringing up how she acted at Nell's party. And everyone was like, this is not how you were. You had some liquid courage in you, which you did. And you would have never confronted Stormy if you didn't have liquor in your system. You convinced me. So she was talking about how everyone don't want to see the nice Tisha. They're tired of seeing the nice Tisha. When have you ever been nice, actually? Fine. Marceau told Tisha, we have to work on our accountability. She sounds like a child and says, I don't want to talk about accountability. We always talk about accountability. You said how to always be held accountable. So since she didn't want to have the conversation right then and there, he walked off. Conversation was supposed to be dropped, right? Soon as he walks away, she says, why do you think I don't take accountability? Because you don't, Tisha. So he says your default of not taking accountability is acting defensive. And your default, Marceau, is reverse psychology. That's your default of not taking accountability. And she was like, I do take accountability. I do. No, you don't, Tisha. And this whole crying old tissue from Candace, from RHOP, I didn't see no tears. You do not take accountability. You don't, because you can't say what someone did wrong without saying, well, someone did this too. You don't do that. You can't say someone was wrong just to be wrong. And she don't like that Marceau calls her out every time. And listen, Marceau, you do take pleasure into calling out Tisha when she's wrong, which is why Tisha can never fully get what she wants to showcase to other people, because that's how Tisha operates. She wants to prove that her marriage is perfect. She wants to prove that her man got her back, because Tisha's had your back with countless times that you have not had hers. Countless times you have let her hang herself out to dry. For real, for real. And he said, but every now and again, we talk about what you did wrong, you get called out, but it's life. Everybody makes mistakes, but she finds it embarrassing. But I'm thinking that Tisha, you gotta like not focus on how it embarrasses you and focus on how it can make you be better. That's the whole thing. And she don't like hearing that she's wrong, because she feels like everything is always her fault. Listen, Tisha, not everything is someone else's fault, but you have to learn where your part is. You have to learn, you have to accept that. Everybody has to accept accountability. It's not just you, but we all know throughout this entire time you've been on this show, you have escaped accountability with everything. Every single thing you've escaped accountability. You have never learned how to accept proper accountability. So I don't have time for the victim role. I don't have time. But Marceau was like, well, we have to talk about it, but she don't want to talk about it. So I guess we'll figure out when we can have another quiet moment or sweep it under the rug because we're not going to talk about it. But that's the problem. Every time Marceau can tell Tisha when she's wrong, she always wants to bring on the waterworks, wants to bring on the tears, wants to act defensive because she's tired of it. But you don't know how we're tired of it? We're tired of how you're always playing the victim and never be held accountable for everything. But both you and Tisha, Marceau, you guys have never learned how to take accountability with anything. So while you're telling her she needs to work on it, so do you. And, excuse me, sweeping on the rug does not help. But hey, it is what it is. They left that scene. He said, bye, see you later, T, and left it at that. I'm like, wow, no hug, no kiss, no nothing. Okay, see that later. So then we get to Stormy and Mel, which was a nice scene, to be honest. I've never really remember if Stormy and Mel have ever had a one-on-one scene before. Has it been a minute since they've had a one-on-one scene? Probably have. But she's meeting with Mel to let her know that her invite to her gala event was a generous invite. It wasn't an attack invite. It wasn't a shady invite. So since Tisha and Marceau felt the way about it, I'm making sure you know where I'm coming from. So happy to be invited. They went to some type of Japanese Chinese place, which makes me want Chinese food. She thanked Stormy for going to the podcast. I was happy, it was nice, it was entertaining, but how did you feel about the surprise guest? Well, she don't really have a lot to say about it because she doesn't know Sonny like that. She feels like love is love, you can't help who you love, but maybe the way that Sonny and Moses came out or the way that Sonny was answering questions was a bit abrasive, was a bit a lot. Did not need to be like that though, because in the confessional, she felt like they could have been more softer. They could have been more understanding of how Destiny could have felt and not have been so, this is my man now and I got him now, so what's up? It could have been like you've been eyeing him this whole time. But based off of what I have learned about Destiny's position in this, Sonny didn't do nothing that bad to Destiny, even when she tried to talk to her about it before, when it was supposed to be Moses' job to do that. Destiny still want to act like things have been done to her and she's never going to let it go. So while you want them to be more nice to Destiny, Destiny needs to let it go and realize that it wasn't meant to harm her. But since Destiny likes to be a victim and won't like to take accountability of where she fucked up is, we're going to leave it at that. Then we discussed the party. How come her and Tisha got into it? Stormy said Tisha was into it with herself. Then we get to how does she get into it with Nell. Don't know why. But Stormy told Melody that her friend Trish was informed by Tisha to watch out for Nell. How Nell can be feisty, Nell can be this, Nell can be that. And it's crazy because she's never seen Nell and Tisha have that type of argument back and forth. And that went on from there. She, talked about her gala event and how Tisha and Marceau didn't appreciate the invite, but hey, they don't want to come, they don't have to. I'm not going to lose no sleep of them not coming. Stormy was having a hard time with these chopsticks. That made me laugh because I am the exact same way. I cannot hold chopsticks very well. My kids know how to hold chopsticks better than me. And it was funny how Mel was asking the waiter because she gets some more sauce because her food looked a bit dry and Stormy's looked a bit better. So then we are talking about Stormy's gala. Like, what's the attire? Is it formal, semi-formal? She said it's formal. I want everyone to have a good time. It's going to be a very fun time. And then she mentions Martel, noticing that Martel was not at Nell's party. Then she says to Mel, I know you two have a lot going on. I do not want to get into it, but we did ask Martel to model for our event. Mel was like, okay, noted. That's fine. Do what y'all do. I will not be attending. But hey, you know what, Stormy? I'm happy you did not want to address it. You did not want to push once Mel says she will not come, because you all know Mel is not going to be put in any rooms, be involved in any scenarios, any situations with Martel. That's the bottom line. So hey, do what y'all do. I have fun. I will not be there. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. So then we get Trisha and Martel. Oh my God, Trisha. So she wanted to have an opportunity to get back at Martel as to why he acted like he did not know her when he was at Stormy's house. So she wanted to play the same game. I don't know why she's doing this, training Martel as a favorite as Stormy. It makes no sense, but I felt like Stormy's trying to place you and Martel in the same room because of production. But hey, It is what it is. So he said, hey, how you doing? She wanted to be like, you know, I'm introducing myself. I'm Trisha, how you doing? But it's like, it's been a minute since I've seen you. It's like, not really. Ken and Trisha see you all the time around the gym, and they just saw you at Target. So I don't know why you acting like you don't know her. It's so weird. So with the small time frame he has to get his body in order, he's gonna train with Trish. But he says he doesn't really train with women, and why are we here? If you don't train with women, why are we here? For a scene? Because nobody else is gonna film with you. So now they're getting their workouts in, and Martel started to question Trish about who does she know? Do you know the Scotts? And he emphasizes, I mean, all of them. But she mentions how she knows Maurice the most, no, Marceau the most, because he used to work with Monaco, the movie theater, with her ex and her baby sister. Small world, right? But then Martel was dry snitching. Ooh, he started to snitch about how there were parties with all these women at the movie theater, and I'm happy you weren't involved because he would have got you too. She's like, hell no, he wouldn't. So for me, it's like, what the hell, Martel? You finally now dropping tea that you have on Marceau and Maurice after what? Because you don't like the way that they are not on your side with this revenge peace stuff. So you decide to say, fuck it. I'm gonna exploit all your shit. Okay, Martel. All right, do what you do. But Trish was completely surprised by how much he was spilling to her. And it's like, are you crazy right now? All right. So then we talk about Chris and how he's irritated with Chris Fletcher. Trish said that that's her mom's cousin, i.e. your cousin. But it's weird. You said you were related to Nell. Now you're Chris's cousin, but you said when Chris comes around, you try to say, hey, cuz, he don't know who you are. I don't get it. But then the way that Martel was acting, like he just started to like, oh shit, it's you. Oh my God. And it's like, what? Like a light bulb went off in his head that you have been the one that Chris was talking to me about. And she's like, what you mean? In the confessional, maybe at the time when Martel was single and he wasn't going back and forth with the mistress, Chris was about to set him up with Trish. So now that he's seeing her, it was almost like an indirect meetup. And I'm like, wow, when at some point did Chris try to introduce you to Trish, but yet Trish has to remind Chris who she is. So somebody lying. And when she asked him, what did Chris say about me? He don't want to get into details. Why? This isn't something that have to be a secret. So why aren't you telling her what you know? So she's like, fine, you don't want to tell me. He want to act weird. I'm going to have to ask Chris directly. Again, weird. So wonder why he was at the party. Everybody's supposed to ask Martel why he wasn't there. Production, nobody cares why he was there. Moving on. She talked about how him and Mel can't be in the same room, even though you guys can. No, they can't. He's still lying again, saying how him and Mel have been in the same spaces before and they never had any issues. Again, you are lying. Production, where is the playback? Why are you allowing him to lie like this? So then, Trish says that Mel ended up grilling her. How does she grill you, Trish? You allow yourself to be asked multiple questions because you get tongue-tied when all you gotta do is say, I am separated and I'm dating somebody new. That's it. Because Kimmy asked you where you married. Tisha was making faces. Nell telling you, send him on his way. Mel asked you where you were a trainer, this, and the third. She was not grilling you. So, it's me. So now, here go Martel, finding an opening to bring up side chicks and side dudes again because he doesn't want to be on the island by himself, that he had a mistress when he was married. So now we talk about her separation, but it's not legal and she doesn't have any paperwork. So here he goes again, bringing up Nell. Now, Nell was the one who started being a side chick and this, and the third. I could have sworn that Chris told you to never say that his wife was a side chick again, and you agreed and shook hands on it. But like I said before, that was not a real apology. So again, Martel is just going off about how other people have had issues and situations that could be like his because he doesn't want to be alone. Nobody, Martel, you will always be on that boat by yourself. So asking her, is Ken a side dude? She said no. He said, you don't have to explain. It's self-explanatory. It's not self-explanatory. So of course he can't be in the scene without bringing up Mel, saying how Mel said that she had a side dude as well, claiming we were separated, but we never talked about divorce and we never did this, we never did that. I don't have time. I don't have time to go back and forth because we just saw it last season when she addressed everything that you want to claim she was doing. Because you want to be in your feelings that she wasn't going to deal with you, always cheating on her and hurting her and hurting the family and her dealing with it. Get out of my face with this, Martel. So Trish was like, her marriage was done. There was no going back. She's moving forward, but she doesn't believe that she needs to put a rush on the divorce, because what is a document? What is a paper? It doesn't mean nothing. Then go ahead and get the divorce. What is the problem? You saying it's a future plan. It don't have to be that far in the future. You have nothing else connecting you with this man of yours, then go ahead, get it done. Like, I don't have time for this. I really don't. But Martel even mentioned how, oh my God, these side dudes and these side girls are like the all the rage. It's obviously new. Because he said he went through a little phase like that. No, you went through a 5-year affair is what you went through. Now you're going to say your mission was a phase. So it's just weird how this man is really like acting like he didn't do nothing wrong. Like this was just a mistake he made. A 5-year mistake that led to a baby. I'm sorry, Martel. You ain't gonna ever convince nobody that the way you handle your marriage is easily absolvable. It's easily water under the bridge. It's easily forgotten. It'll never be forgotten. Never. You are going to hold on to that mistake for the rest of your life, okay? But I think the workout session was over, because I don't see nothing else to add to this session, because this session was just ridiculous. Okay. Saying how she'll never work with Martel again, and that's it. Fine. So we finally get to the conversation between Marceau and Mel. She congratulates him on how the second Black Expo went. They took a lot of Melody's suggestions and opinions for having a keynote speaker, open panel, sponsorship, and happy that it turned out great, because the first time that they had a town hall meeting after the expo, Marceau and Tisha weren't really ready to receive any constructive criticism, and they weren't. But Marceau is trying to turn a new leaf and being more receptive to good advice and not let it slip away. Okay, great. So the reason why she wanted to have this conversation was because she spoke to Tisha and Mel. They went to a little pottery place, had a great conversation, but they mentioned Martel's arrest and how he had something to say. So right now I'm just doing my part to not allow things to fester. You know, I'm not gonna hold things in and not talk about it, because they're trying to move forward in this group and not hold things in and not talk about things. I want to have an open conversation so we can move forward. So when it came to responding to Martel's arrest, she felt the way about it. Now, he wanted to act dumb, like he didn't know why she was coming, when Tisha has told him about the conversation. And he says because they were in close proximity, meaning that they are linked to one another because they're on this show, that everything kind of involves them. So when it came to the news circulating that Martel got arrested, it was probably a mistake that they thought that Marceau got arrested. So when the media reached out to him to see if it was him, he wanted to clear his name and say it wasn't. Again, I don't see how a media news outlet would have made a mistake of printing the wrong man being arrested. But hey, if you want to tell them it was a mistake, say it wasn't you, cool. Denying that it wasn't you is one thing. I don't know how they can make that mistake, but okay. But when it came out to quoting the situation or explaining how you felt about the situation, that's something that you did not need to do. You didn't need to respond. You could have said nothing. So throwing it back at him, how there have been other media outlets and bloggers trying to talk to her about what's been going on with Marshall and Tisha, with their lawsuits and everything. Mel don't say nothing. But then he wanted to switch it and say, well, this was a personal friend of mine that reached out to me. So it's the same thing. I've had personal friends reach out to me and wonder what's been going on with you and Tisha, and I still haven't said nothing. So when it came to the message, how the news anchor messaged him, he said, I pray for all parties involved, and that's all it was. That's all you said? So when we get to the text message, it wrote, I pray for everyone that's involved, but then in the end, he wrote, for real, free Martel. But you claim you don't know what happened. Since you don't know what happened, why would you say free Martel? That implies that you were aware of what's been going on and you want to be funny and be messy and get involved and say for real, free Martel. She said, what the fuck is wrong with you? And that's where it ended off. To be continued. So we're going to have the continued conversation where Marceau is going to bring up the fans once again, how she allows the fans to say whatever they want to say, but then she's like, wait, you want me to control people that I don't know? When you got your mother-in-law who goes on live almost every day calling me all types of bitches and hoes, talking about my kids, absolutely. Let's get into it. You want to say how Mel be allowing her fan bases to be coming after y'all, which is not true? Then let's talk about your mama, because we're not going to do this. Marcel and Tisha's storyline is to bring up the fans, and I don't like it. Y'all going to have to take ownership that you guys do this to yourselves. You guys have your own thoughts and minds about how things have been happening, and you guys want to blame the fan base for calling it out. Get out of my face. But y'all, that's it. This episode was cool. I liked it. It was good. But that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.